Radio, grade 12s, welcome to this lesson, and this is a revision lesson specifically for grade 12s as we prepare you for the final exams. If you need more support, please head on over to the EGD Masterclass playlist where I deep dive in a lot more that I'm going to be sharing on this specific video. But this one is of utmost importance. I've got my own learners in class and we are going to talk through what you can expect for Civil Paper 1, the last question, which is 50% of your final mark. And ladies and gentlemen, all that I'm going to explain to you now, you can genuinely expect to also get in your final paper. It will have slight variations, but you know 50% of what is going to be asked. And it is straightforward. If you can read, you can achieve. Looking at what is given, take time during your reading time, because a lot of that information, the other questions, it's quick to read through, but this one is the one that you can spend your time in your reading time. All right, let's quickly just briefly look at what is given. They will give you an incomplete elevation. I'm going to zoom in here because I think there's some important requirements here. Now, in this class that's in front of me, I've got some learners that do not realize that this is an incomplete barge board that's given here. And then they draw this question with still the barge board stopping there with these break lines. It's incomplete. And so things like extending those barge boards, extending that barge board there, finishing this gutter, those are things that's asked of you to complete in your own drawing. Ne? So there will be an incomplete elevation, but it will have key measurements, heights, details that you have to take note of. Even detail on the gutters, that's important. Then the roof components will be given to you. The heights and the lengths of these components, fascia boards, gutter, take note of that. Then there's going to be a window schedule, and it's going to show for you which are fixed panels. There you can see B is the fixed panel, A is the opening side of this window frame. All right, and so take note of. Let's get through, of course, the foundation detail, and this is what we're going to be drawing now, is a sectional elevation on this. There's going to be roof detail for you also given with roof notes. People, there's nothing that they've put on this piece of paper that's not important for you to take note of. All right. Let's quickly look at the answering, and I've drawn most of this here. You'll see I left out the roof here because that's what I want to actually draw with you now. But I've drawn some things that is commonly asked that you can expect, and that I want to make sure you do not make the same mistakes here. Okay, so let's just look at the floor plan quickly. All right, on this I've drawn the things that a lot of you get wrong. If you look here at the basin, you can be sure you're going to get a kitchen sink in here. Do you see that there's no of those drying rack lines that some learners still put into this day? Okay, I know that's how it sometimes is given here in the question, and there you can see it. All right, when we actually draw it, there's no zinc lines here. All right, let's look at the basin and the toilets, the bathroom. Of course, these are all according to SUNS. And that you have to know the symbols. Then a common mistake with learners is the gap that they will leave for you here for the window is definitely going to be bigger than the actual window fit. So you're going to have to use the measurements that's given, and then you're going to see that there is an actual pencil line here where I fill in that's the actual width. And so when you draw that window, when you measure it, make sure that that last gap is filled with pencil, so that the one that is marking your paper can see that you understood that. All right. So fill in those two gaps. And then these two lines for the window needs to be in the middle of the wall, please. All right. In the middle of that wall, those two gaps. Now, if you, you people, you're not even saying, hey, can't see you, sir. Sorry about that. All right, so there's the gaps that's filled in, and these two lines in the middle of the wall, not in the middle of this part, in the middle of the wall. Okay, then the hatching is another thing that's important, evenly spaced. Even these smaller walls, needs to have a hatching line through. While we are here at the electrical component, so make sure these are at 45, and then a switch has got a round part with the actual switch coming out, and that wire runs to the inside of it, not to the end of the switch. If you think of a basic electric switch, nowhere does that wire sit on the switch. It goes to the holder. All right, I've done the same here at the bottom. When we look at a two-way switch, again it goes to the circle. All right, and then our roof light, if it has a description 240 watts, make sure you add that in. While we are there on this specific plan, they asked for you to specify the finish. Now, if you do not read again your instructions in full, you're going to miss little things like that. Each one of these specifications here was an actual mark. All right, so make sure you fill in all of these labels, and then just a socket. Again, that's sometimes learners draw that as a circle. That's not. It's only a half an arc. All right, take note of that. And the external wall light, you have to see that back plate here. All right, that's a couple of symbols on the floor plan that you have to take note of. Make sure if there's an external door that it has a line. There's always, if they didn't put that in, you have to fill in that line there. Okay. All right, that's the one part. Now, when we draw the elevation that's on the top here, I've already drawn this. I'm just going to quickly show you some steps that is required. If you look here, there's going to be a roof overhang and roof lines drawn in. So that overhang, I just want to zoom out so you can see it. Sorry. Pay attention to where that overhang goes, all right? And there's the wall. So you're going to be projecting from your floor plan up to get the different lines at your elevation, okay? And then that gutter, the depth of it is 100, but the overhang is 150. So what's happening there is that gutter is wrapping around the fascia board. Okay, and so that's why there's an end there that's sticking out, and that's given like that. There's the barge boards that many of my own learners forgot to complete. Okay, same on the front. Those barge boards need to complete, as well as our gutter coming down. And this finished floor level all the way through, don't forget that. Okay. Then another thing that learners keep forgetting is underneath every window, there must be a window sill. Please, people. I'm saying things that I've said 100 times, but you need to remember it. And this label and the finished floor label, and if they haven't done it, a natural ground level, those are key labels that must be in there. So don't continue without doing that. If you look at your rubric on the side, you're going to see here each one, even with a floor plan, there's one that says labels 2 marks, and that was basically just adding tiles, wood at each one of them. But learners don't use this as this is your checklist. Use this column here and check, did I do all doors and windows? Yeah, you're going to have time at the end of this paper. Double check, did I do all the doors and windows? While I'm on doors and windows, I forgot to tell you about that doorway. Again, make sure that door hinges on the outside of that door frame. So if I close it, it closes into that gap. I think you can see that there, and the swing. All right. And so it just gets quickly back here to the floor plan. These are elevations. We've got our roof, fascia, gutters, covers, barge boards, 12 marks. Just the roof on that elevation, quite a lot of marks. The wall, the porch, steps, ramp, finished floor level, door, windows, and again the labels. All right. Is there any questions on this elevation that you're unsure of? Do you want me to know? This step, it looks complex, but look here, it was given to you. The heights, the width, all of that was given to you. And you had it also on here. So it's really people redrawing what is given, being able to interpret what is given and actually just drawing it. The heights there, all of that's given. All right. Now let's get to the sectional elevation. There's the cutting plane given. And pay attention to the direction of these arrows, because that is the direction in which you are looking. So we are looking in this direction. So if I look in this direction, I'm going to cut through that window. Do you see that I'm going to see the step and the railing on the step? and I'm going to be seeing that window. And so I guarantee you, grade 12 final exam level, there's always going to be something else than just the section here that you're going to see it. Whether, I think last year there was a chimney that you saw, the outline of a chimney. This year, in the prelims, this was a step for the Eastern Cape and a window. All right. So take note of, put yourself there, cut through it, and look. Whatever I'm seeing here is marks that I still need to add. So the basics of this, if you think of the basics, which is the floors, the foundations, and the wall, people, they have given it to you. It's a redraw. They even are going to, most likely, you can double check it, but the orientation of this is going to be right. On the inside, I've got the inner wall. On the outside, I've got the step there, or the concrete slab, sorry. There's a concrete slab. And so you can know inside and outside. And that's exactly what you're going to redraw here. On this, compacted fill is specified here, 300. Then the natural undisturbed soil, 400. Okay, so we're just going to do a redraw. Remember your hatching, you can do that freehand, that's fine. The compact fill here, hatching of the floor, and this damp-proof course, all right, needs to be indicated on that line. All right, as soon as you draw it, write DPC. In Afrikaans, volg weer laag. Okay, the other symbol that you can do immediately is your finished floor level. Okay, voltooide vloervlak. All right, then the steps in this case, you had to get those widths from this view here, and you also used, of course, the measurements that's given here to get those steps right. The window, you've got one window through which you are sectioning, and that one here, double check, that was NC2. It's this one, so there's the height, the 950 is this. Now, they've given you a height of 2,100. That is the top, the bottom of the lintel above the door and window. So that's the bottom height. Just take note of that. That's the bottom height. And your lintel goes on top of it. Windows in the middle. And then in the middle of that window, can I zoom in for you? I'm just going through these things quickly. In the middle of the window, down and to the left. And at 30 degrees, people, make sure that this windowsill has got a 90-degree angle on either side. Does that make sense to you? And then a couple of dots to fill in the concrete there. Here again, label DPC. Okay, there's a moisture barrier actually in there as well. Okay, that's a window that I see if I'm looking from the left-hand side. And you see I've added the windowsill again there. Don't forget, when you draw a window, add a sill. All right, then we get to the top part here, and I've stopped here because now we have to draw our wall. Right next to it, you're going to see the mark allocation, and I'm quickly going to go through it. If you get the roof angle correct, you're getting half a mark. And it is as easy as, again, using the diagram that is given to us. Okay, 20 degrees. So I'm going to put my 20 degrees right there in the corner. Maybe just draw a construction line all the way through. In the corner there. And I'm going to do my 20 degrees. There it is. First line. Okay. That line there is the bottom of your roof truss. Yes. Well, sorry, I forgot them. Thank you. You are with me. Thank you for helping me. Sorry, I forgot the wall plate there. So the first thing you're going to do is that wall plate, and it's specified as a 114 by 38. So scale 1 to 20. Thank you for picking that up, David. 1 to 20, 38. Okay, goes the wall plate. All right, and that is indicated with a cross on it. Okay, and then the 20 degrees goes. I'm just moving this line. All right, there's your the bottom of your roof truss. Just rub out this so that you're not confused. Okay, these are 20 degrees. So if you're in class, you can draw it with me. 20 degrees. All right. Then perpendicular to that, we have to measure another 114. and we are going to draw the top of that roof truss in construction. Okay, construction that goes through here. Okay, then on top of our wall plate, there's another 114 being measured. Okay, and this one I can draw in nice and dark. That's the bottom. All right, there we go. The roof overhang is specified as how much? 300 millimeters. So from the wall outside, 10, 200, 300. Okay, and it's here that you're going to draw your fascia in. Okay, so we can just draw that as construction lines at the moment. We're going to measure its height in a moment. Okay, construction line. On top of my roof truss, I have my, so let me draw this in now nice and dark. Okay, so far, we've really not had to consider much. We've used the graph that's given to us. We've used it 20 degrees. We know the bottom and the top beam is at 20 degrees. It's 114 and 140. Okay. Then on top of this, we have our purlins. They are spaced at 900 center to center. And that 900 center to center, that purlin is a 75 by 50. So I'm going to come back here. The first one is right here on the end. Make a mark, measure 900. So you're going to actually just see two of them. And they are 50 wide. And they are 75 high. Okay, so we're just going to draw a construction line. What is the line that I'm anyway going to draw now is my corrugated iron sheet. Okay, and so I'm going to give it some thickness. And it's going to just go over that fascia because if the rain falls off, it's going to fall into a gutter. And at that same angle that I've just done, I'm going to do my purlins. There's the one. And there's the other one. Only two. Okay, and then immediately all wood that's not planed has got an X in on its end. Okay, now I can do my fascia. The fascia height is 200. Just double check, is the fascia 200, right? So there, up to the end there. Okay. All right, there's the roof end. So what still needs to be done is our branding. That branding is space center to center at 400. So there's our first one. It's going to be a square. There's the next one, center to center. Okay, there's not even going to be space on that side. Then our ceiling, just a single line with a double line underneath that. And we're going to do our cross again in that. Okay, so branding just to the side of our wall plate. It's two of them. There's not space for another one. Alright, so our actual roof truss is done. We can do our beam filling here just to finish this off. That's how they've given it to us. Okay, now the rest of this detail is what's happening. If you're with me here and I look here to the left hand side, do you see? Okay, I've looked through the window. I'm also cutting through this end of the roof, and that gutter and this fascia is also going to be visible. Does that make sense to you? So even in the roof, I have to think, what am I going to see? And so this becomes very straightforward. That roof continues this way. So there's a line and there's a line of the roof lying this way. We'll do the top now. The fascia continues this way. That gutter here, which is 100, continues this way. Okay. What is missing here is at the top. It's this top here that I am also going to see, right? So I can use, this is to scale 1 to 50. Don't think they specify this height at all, but I can go and double check here. There's my fascia height, is right here. That height there, 1 to 50, is 600. So coming back here, 1 to 20. I'm going to measure 600 up, and that's my barge board running all the way across here as well. Okay, so we have our barge board running on the cross. You understand what roof that is? It's this roof here that I'm going to see if I look in this direction. Then I see this fascia with its gutter. That's the end of the roof sheeting. Those roof sheeting that's lying in this direction. I've got my purlins, I've got my fascia, I've got my wall plate, branding. And so if I now do my checklist that's to the right hand side, my angle of my roof is 20 degrees. That's a half a point. Roof sheet, I've done it, and I show thickness. Do you see that? 2 marks. Are you looking? Hey. Roof sheet, show the thickness, 2 marks. Roof truss with the overhang, 2.5 marks. There it is. Purlin, and the spacing is correct. There's my purlins, 1.5 marks. Branding and each spacing is correct, 1.5 marks. The ceiling board, again 2 lines, half a mark. The wall plate is there, 1 mark. The fascia board is there, 1.5 marks. And the gutter is shown 1.5. And so if you've done all of that, you're going to get your full allocation of 12.5 marks for that. And that's going to be then added here at that 12.5. On this again, the different parts here, of course. Hatching, have I hatched it correctly? 5.5. And with each one of these, there are labels. So coming back here, double checking that you've done all the labels correct is of utmost importance. Okay. And so just the last thing before I allow for questions. They're not going to ask you anything else but a floor plan, an elevation, and a sectional elevation. So for you to practice this, working through old papers is the best that you can do. It's 50% of this paper, and there's enough time for you to do this. You know exactly how to draw a zinc and a bath and a hatchet and all of that you know. So please help yourselves out. The last step before I allow for questions is when I draw the elevation, remember this roof line here, this corner is going to help you determine, for instance, that corner there. They might not give it to you, but projecting that up gives me that corner. Okay. What questions do you have?
Very right view.
With the section elevation. Yes.
Hoekom sien jy nie die gutter wat soos dat
Yeah, I would think that's not a bad idea. 150 from there. It's not on the memo, but that could definitely be something, a line, because you're actually looking at this gutter, ne? And then it turns, so that's fine. Yeah, you can add that. It's not on the memo, but it is on the memo. I missed it. I apologize. There we go. Okay, good question. Anybody else picked up something or want to ask something? Do you understand this roof? I mean, you're not going to have to draw a full truss. They're going to give you this diagram. Just place your wall plate, like I also forgot, and the vet helped me to remember, and your brand ring, same distance. That first line that you draw is on the corner of that wall plate. And then 90 degrees to 114 to get your second one, 90 degrees to get this one. Once you've done that, filling in these can't be impossible. No.
Yes, a frame by the elevation.
Well, yeah, sorry, I didn't finish all of this. Door frame there in the middle. Did you think I measured all of these? No, because I'm not wanting to waste my time. I think if you can judge all of these different widths in good proportion, do them. Don't waste time drawing millimeters and, practice now getting them drawn without measuring little things like this.
So about the door, are you supposed to draw like a little circle?
No. Good. Okay, head on over to the EGD Masterclass playlist if you do more exercises and of course some more tips on how to hack your final exams. Thank you for watching. Now it's your turn.